Coming up on Cronkite Sports Report, a health scare has a coach in Flagstaff fighting to return to the field.
Pickleball for all, how deaf athletes are joining in on America's new favorite recreational sport.
Kids being kids, we show you how little ninjas are conquering the course.
And a former ASU baseball player faced a life-threatening scare, how he got the ultimate save.
Plus, the voice of the ages calls it quits, a tribute to legendary broadcaster Al McCoy. All these stories and more coming up right now on the Cronkite Sports Report. Welcome to the Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Ethan Tuttle.
And I'm Noelle Blumel. Thank you for joining us. You only get one 50th birthday, and for one Flagstaff high school baseball coach, Josh Hughes, it definitely wasn't the standard celebration.
No, Noelle, it definitely was not. I had the privilege of sitting down with his family and discussing the impact the community has had on the family through this difficult time. You would normally find Josh Hughes in the dugout at Flagstaff High School. An assistant coach for the baseball team, Hughes and the Eagles have been enjoying one of their best seasons, currently at 20-7 overall and 10-2 in section play.
He's real passionate. He gets a little riled up sometimes. He just has a passion for the game. Nothing negative, always positive, really getting the kids up, trying to make them stay in the game, to be positive, work hard.
But just when you're expecting a fastball, life suddenly throws a curve. Hughes quickly went from the baseball diamond to the operating table, where he needed open heart surgery for an aortic root replacement.
I mean, we knew coming down in late March that he was having heart surgery, was going to be open heart, and that he would be in the hospital like 5 to 7 days. So we certainly were planning on, some level of rehab and things like that.
Due to complications with the left side of his heart following the original operation, Hughes would have to face another curveball. A baseball game can change with the crack of a bat. Well, life isn't much different, as assistant baseball coach at Flagstaff High Josh Hughes found out, as he had to have a heart transplant on his 50th birthday.
The transplant was on the 3rd of April, and so we're just about 2.5 weeks from that. And it was good advice. One of the cardiologists said to us, just remember to measure progress in weeks and not days.
Hughes has a long road of recovery ahead. The family found temporary housing in Phoenix to be near the Mayo Clinic, where Josh will do his rehab. With their life uprooted and a long list of medical bills, the family needed support. Their dear friend Nicole Slane stepped in and started a GoFundMe for the Hughes family.
These people are so loved by their community that we're like, I think people are going to rally for the Hughes family and really make it happen. And right now we're at like $45,000.
Back on the Flagstaff field, the players are not only missing their coach, but one of them is missing his father, as Josh's son Luke is an infielder for the Eagles. What's just this whole experience kind of been like, and the perspective it's changed in your mind?
It's been super sobering. It becomes really clear like what really matters, and so it's easy to get caught up in like things that really don't matter and things that really have no consequence at all.
The Flagstaff community has rallied around the family in more ways than one. A teammate of Luke started up the Hearts for Hughes slogan that the team wears on their wrist on a daily basis, reminding them of what they're playing for this season.
Everyone's rallied. We got teams from the Valley all over that have helped out with donations. Everyone here locally in town. We made our little banners, wristbands that Hearts for Hughes.
Luke and his father look forward to being back on the field together and spending time with one another again sometime soon. But until then, Josh only had these words for his son.
He says to Luke, I love you, I missed you, and I'm proud of you. And it's like, yeah, that's Josh in a nutshell. That's how he is as a dad. He loves being a dad. He loves baseball. He loves participating in that with Luke.
And of course, plans are already in place to hopefully give Josh a better 51st birthday.
I know. Hopefully a lot less stress than his 50th. But boy, that'll be a big one.
He's definitely looking forward to celebrating his 51st birthday in a much different way, Noelle.
Yes, so glad he's recovering well. Do you know his future plans as far as coaching baseball is concerned?
So it's a long road ahead for recovery, but he's looking forward to getting back out on the baseball field as soon as possible with his son.
Great story, Ethan. Coming up next on the Cronkite Sports Report. It's the fastest growing sport in the country. How one athlete is making pickleball inclusive for all.
And later, saying goodbye to the Suns' Al McCoy, the longest running radio announcer in the NBA. Welcome back to the Cronkite Sports Report. Pickleball is the fastest growing sports in the United States. From recreational leagues to pro leagues, pickleball appeals to just about everyone. Now, in Arizona, Ireland Horvat tells us how a new deaf pickleball league is making the sport even more inclusive.
Arizona Deaf Pickleball is a group founded by Francisco Herman and Sean Benavente to merge both the deaf and hearing communities through pickleball. The group was founded in January of 2021 and now has over 400 members.
I want to work with this group because I want deaf people to come together. I want to see improvement in pickleball where deaf people play with hearing people. I want to see more deaf people involved.
The sport that is a mix of ping pong and tennis has become highly popular in the U.S. Both Herman and Benavente wanted to meet more hearing players and combine their groups to make for a more inclusive court.
Our mission is to educate hearing and deaf people play together. Teach hearing players how to score 1 through 10. We met most of the hearing players through the park and a tournament, and that's how we got them involved. And they were like very eager to learn the hairstyle, and we're very inclusive. We don't exclude anyone. We just include as long as they learn hairstyle.
Both the football huddle and the baseball signs ball and strike were created by deaf athletes. Francisco Herman of Arizona Deaf Pickleball thinks that pickleball is going in that direction, with the signs being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 for the scoring.
Deaf players can understand, so they was like, oh, no, huddle. They huddle, they relive, understand, break, boom. Nowadays they use it. And then baseball, to the pro, they use ball, strike, ball, before they just shouting. So we have that baseball player that teach the umpire, like, no, do ball, strike, so they know visual, the universal signal.
Both Benavente and Herman are sponsored by a local pickleball company, Armor Pickleball. Company president Sheldon Lassard knew nothing about deaf people before sponsoring them.
I reached out to Sean, and we ended up meeting at Gilbert Regional Park one night. They taught us how to sign the score. We taught them a little bit about pickleball, fell in love with those two gentlemen. That night, if I remember correctly, I invited them both into being sponsored athletes for Armor Pickleball.
Pickleball is so accessible to the general public, which is why this is the fastest growing sport in America. Once you play, you're hooked, which is why Benavente continues to play the sport.
When I first played, I was like, wow, I love this. I fell in love with it and have been playing for over 5 years. Pickleball is more fun, but is also good for your mind and your body. You can play with different people, old or young, it doesn't matter. Pickleball is for anyone.
The Arizona Deaf Pickleball Group is only growing. A quarter of their members are hearing and have learned sign language along the way. With pickleball becoming more inclusive to all communities, it will continue to grow rapidly. In Phoenix, Ireland Horvat, Cronkite Sports Report.
On to another inspiring sport, ninja. Athletes of all ages are turning to ninja gyms to challenge their inner strength. For kids, it also enhances their critical thinking skills. Cronkite Sports reporter Ashley Engel talks to young ninja warriors in Scottsdale.
Conquer Ninja is a place where swinging on bars and running up walls are welcomed.
We want each kid to leave the gym better than they came in. If they're trying to get stronger, if they're trying to gain more confidence, if they're just trying to socialize with other kids. It's really whatever their goal is.
With locations in Scottsdale and Gilbert, kids of all ages and backgrounds can find their inner ninja by going to classes and open gyms that test their critical thinking skills and boost their physical health.
You get to practice obstacles and get to improve. And when you improve, there's always a way to make it a little harder to where you can work on it a little harder. And there's ways to try it in different ways.
She'll get asked by people, oh, what sports do you play? She's like, oh, I play soccer and ninja. And they're like, You do what? And she's like the TV show, like with running up the walls. And she's like, yeah.
The show, American Ninja Warrior, has helped the sport grow in popularity, and all levels of ability can participate.
I'm really proud of all of our coaches. They take really good care of everyone coming in here that are new, showing them the ropes, teaching them obstacles, showing them safety things.
Ninja may be different than the other sports that people are used to participating in, but many parents have said ever since enrolling their child into Conquer Ninja, they have been seeing improvement in their other sports outside the facility.
I think it makes her a better soccer player, a better athlete, and just better. And she's a better version of herself. She has more confidence in every part of her life. It's one of those sports that it makes you better at everything. It's core strength, it's agility, it's balance.
While making a difference in the community and watching students grow, improvements show that students are capable of anything if they put their mind to it.
Seeing somebody accomplish something that they've been working on for a month, a year, 2 years, and they finally get it, and that expression in their face, that excitement that they have, you get just as excited, if not more, for them.
With the excitement of being active in a unique way, Conquer Ninja is changing the perspective of physical activity, one obstacle at a time. In Scottsdale, Ashley Engel, Cronkite News.
I'm sure we'll see some of those kids make it on American Ninja Warrior one day soon. Still to come on the Cronkite Sports Report. A former ASU baseball pitcher gets the save of a lifetime. And the timeless voice of Al McCoy, a tribute to the Suns broadcaster who is retiring after 51 years.
Welcome back to the Cronkite Sports Report. Jake Borup is a former ASU pitcher and Phillies minor leaguer. He was the epitome of health until one day he was facing his last strike. Cronkite Sports reporter Jackson Webster has more on how Borup got the save of a lifetime.
Former ASU and Phillies minor league pitcher Jake Borup retired over a decade ago. Still, he's a popular face at Sun Devil baseball games who coaches his own kids and other aspiring pitchers.
Every time spring training comes around, it's like, I miss baseball, right? But I love baseball so much that I still appreciate the game, even though I'm not playing it anymore.
Everyone's friend, as Borup is known, still trained and worked out every day like a big leaguer. He was the epitome of health. But all of a sudden, something felt off.
I would get on the stairs for 1 minute and I would feel like my lungs were collapsing, like there was somebody sitting on me. And I didn't think it was a heart attack, right? A heart attack is for older folks.
On October 28th, 2022, Jake was at the gym with his wife Shay, which was unusual for their schedules. Jake had felt something in his chest for a while and had mentioned that he should go see a doctor, but didn't. While doing part of his workout, the pain wouldn't go away. Shay and Jake immediately headed to the hospital.
We get in the car and he literally had to climb, throw his legs with his arms into the car. I'm driving and he just he laid the seat down as far as it would go, and then he keeps sitting up in pain and, saying some words that I'm not gonna repeat, but just in agony, was complaining that he was losing his eyesight, felt like he was gonna pass out. Next thing I know, I looked over and his eyes were just fixed open.
I remember waking up probably 15, 20 minutes later, and that's when I had all these doctors and nurses around me. Just all sorts of EKG and all sorts of wires coming out of me, and I'm looking at this doctor what's going on? And he's like, dude, you're having a massive heart attack. I'm like, what? A heart attack? I'm 35 years old. I'm healthy, how am I having a heart attack? And that's when I passed out, and I don't remember anything for about 40, 45 days.
Within 30 minutes of arriving at Banner Gateway Hospital, Jake was transported to Banner Heart Hospital by ambulance. Shay followed closely behind him.
And I was in the waiting room maybe 8 minutes before they called Code Blue. Had become stable, but they were working on him in the cath lab still. So I'm just in the waiting room, just totally unsure of what happened. We're just at the gym, we're just in Montana last week, Disneyland 3 weeks ago, what is my life right now? And who do I call? What do I tell? Do I tell my kids? I don't know what's going on.
Jake was transferred to Banner University in downtown Phoenix by helicopter, his third hospital after his heart stopped twice earlier in the day. Jake doesn't remember a thing, but knows it was hard for himself and his family.
The sad part is that most people who go on life support with what I have
don't make it out.
With thousands of people asking about Jake's condition, Shay started Jake's Big Heart, an Instagram account that posted daily from the time of Jake's heart attack to the new year.
I made it, and it became therapeutic, and it became a real place of people being invested in his story.
Jake would be on and off a ventilator 3 times in November alone.
Second time he was off the ventilator, he actually coded again. And I was standing out, I had just gotten to the hospital that morning, 8 a.m., and I picked up the phone and said, I'm here for 716, and they said, can you wait just a minute? And within 30 seconds, they called Code Blue on his room, and I just went into a panic attack. And they came out and told me they did CPR on him for 2 minutes, and they got him stable again. But they had to put the ventilator back in, and that's what saved his life. So it's just, again, this vicious cycle of like, he's never gonna be off this ventilator, like he can't do it on his own.
The turning point came about a month after Jake's heart attack when Dr. Orazio Amabile fought hard to perform a surgery that would place a left ventricular assist device in Jake's chest. It was a Hail Mary, but they couldn't sit and wait any longer.
And I was just slowly deteriorating, and my wife was watching this, and she's like, I can't watch him go like this any longer. So whatever you do, let's do it. I don't care if he dies during that process. I would rather go out trying, right? For a baseball term, go down swinging.
The surgery was successful, and on December 12th, Shay described Jake as being the most clear-headed he had been since October. 10 days later, Jake would leave the hospital.
He didn't just go home 1 day before Christmas or 2. He went home 3 days before Christmas.
A really weird and tough trial to go through, but thankfully I made it out. Thankfully I'm here, and I get to hang out with my family and continue going. So
throughout his time in the hospital, Jake went from weighing 240 pounds to only 168. He's currently back to working out and living off of his LVAD, which is quite literally a battery attached to his heart that he keeps in a fanny pack. The next step for Jake is getting healthy enough for a heart transplant.
The process now is that I'm trying to get stronger, trying to get my body healthier for a heart transplant. And we're kind of in the middle of that process to get on the list.
Jake even got back on the same machine he first knew something was wrong on just a week ago, and he's hoping to get a heart transplant within the next year. From Queen Creek, Jackson Webster, Cronkite Sports Report.
We wish Borup all the best in his recovery. Coming up next on Cronkite Sports Report, a fan favorite and radio legend Al McCoy hangs up the mic after 5 decades. A farewell to the Suns broadcaster. Welcome back to the Cronkite Sports Report. This season marked the last season for Suns play-by-play announcer Al McCoy, who's hanging up the mic after 51 years. I have to admit, Noel, I'm going to miss some of those Shazam calls and some of those wham, bam, slam finishes as well.
For sure. Hard to believe McCoy has been calling Suns games for half a century, almost as long as the team's been in existence. Matt Venezia chronicles McCoy's impact not only on the organization, but the Valley as well.
Phoenix Suns legendary play-by-play broadcaster Al McCoy is retiring at the conclusion of the 2023 NBA playoffs. McCoy will end his time courtside with over 5 decades of stories and moments. These include over 4,000 NBA games, 30 playoff appearances, and 3 runs to the NBA Finals.
Congratulations, Al, and thank you for all you have done for the Phoenix Suns.
Thank you for allowing me to tell the story of the Suns for 51 great years.
Originally from Williams, Iowa, McCoy found a love for radio broadcasting from his family's battery-powered radio. That love took him to Drake University, where he began tape recording his own play-by-play call during the university's basketball games. McCoy found his way to the Valley of the Sun, working as the broadcaster of the Phoenix Giants and Phoenix Roadrunners, respectively. He eventually landed with the Suns only 4 years after the organization's creation.
You sold the game, you sold the Suns in this marketplace, and people loved your voice, your calling to the games, and I think the organization will forever be indebted to you for what your contributions have been.
What can I say? This is the gentleman that took me off a farm in Iowa and said I could be an NBA broadcaster, my dream. And Jerry let me live that dream.
whether it be Heartbreak Hotel or Shazam.
Against Grant, out to Marley, here comes the trio. Shazam! What a shot!
McCoy kept fans on their toes with his illustrious description of the game of basketball. These moments earned him special recognition, like being the only broadcaster selected into the Suns' Ring of Honor.
The last ride for the radio voice of the Phoenix Suns, Al McCoy, has been bittersweet and one that Phoenix Suns fans have been expecting for some time. Throughout this entire last season for McCoy in the broadcasting booth, he's been very appreciative of the support that the community has given him. However, he understands that there's a bigger goal in mind.
We have got a lot of basketball games to win, right? All right, so let's go. Shazam!
Suns fans remain invested into what this year's team can make of a playoff run. McCoy will remain calling as many home games during this playoff run as the team on the court will allow him before signing off for one last time.
To play the game is great. To win the game is greater. But to love the game is the greatest of all.
In Phoenix, Matt Venezia, Cronkite Sports Report.
Al McCoy is the longest-running broadcaster in the NBA. He's had the chance to call 2 NBA finals in his career, but both times the Suns came up short.
He's calling the games throughout these playoffs. Wouldn't it be something if the Suns could win it all in his final season on the headset? That's going to do it for this edition of Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Ethan Tuttle.
And I'm Noelle Blumel. On behalf of everyone involved, thank you for joining us.